Welcome to the 42-day detox daily guide and meal plan. Really excited to go over this with you guys. And this is going to be what we're going to be eating for the next 6 weeks. So we have taken many days and much research and preparation, testing recipes, doing all this stuff ourselves to make sure that we put together just a wonderful, pretty simple way to transition into the lifestyle change that you're going to be undergoing. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it off. I'm going to go over these meals and what the options are going to be. Before I do that, let me just quickly explain. So the idea for this would be that as much as possible, up to 100%, the meals in this menu are going to be what you're eating every day for the next 6 weeks. Okay. Now, you'll have a bit of a margin of error. I mean, if you have to go out for a special occasion, or if you have a slip up here and there where you're not able to prepare something from this menu, then that does not mean that you're going to fail or be unsuccessful. If I had to put a percentage to it, I'd say about 90%. So if you could stick to eating from this menu at least 9 out of 10 meals over the next 6 weeks, you'll get an A, and you'll be doing really, really well in the program. We don't actually give out grades, but it's just from the standpoint of let's say you'll be very satisfied, I think, with your results if you're able to do that. All right, we've done various meal plans and stuff in the past with lots of success that have been much less detailed than this. So the fact that you'll find that this is so detail oriented and has so many good options, I think it's going to be a great success for you as we move forward. So let me just jump in to, if I can make this PDF work. Okay. So the meal plan starts out talking about flavor makers. Flavor makers are delicious ways to make food more flavorful, if you couldn't already tell from the name. Okay, so the first thing on here, one of the greatest questions we get all the time with transitioning to a plant predominant, nutrient dense way of eating is, what am I going to do about cheese? People always say, I love cheese and can't imagine a world without cheese. So the good news is, with a nutrient dense approach, eating mostly plant-based foods, you can still enjoy cheesy on lots of foods. There are many ways. When it comes to plant-based cheeses, I've had almost anything you can think of, from cottage cheese to various types of cheddar cheeses and sauces and Alfredos, and you name it. So there's always a great way to make them. The one that we put in here is a very functional everyday. We call it easy cheesy sauce. And you could see from the ingredients, you've got potatoes, carrots, raw cashews, nutritional yeast, garlic powder, onion powder, and some other spices. And then it talks about the way to make it. It's very simple. You're just boiling potatoes and carrots till they're soft, adding water, and then putting it in a blender along with those spices and such, and the cashews. And you're just rocking it out, put it in the food processor, and that's it. And it comes out with an unbelievably delicious cheesy texture. We put them on baked potatoes. We put it on all sorts of other things too. You can dip stuff in it just as like a cheesy dip. So it's great. It takes on the consistency and the flavor of kind of the cheesy sauce you would get if you went to like a baseball game and ordered nachos. So think of anything that kind of a cheesy sauce would go on, and that's what you'd be looking for. But it's super healthy. So it's going to be all whole foods, nothing bad in there whatsoever. Okay, the next flavor maker is going to be a ranch dressing. This can be used for dips. It can be used to put on potatoes. It can be used, of course, on salads. And again, you've got silken tofu, which is kind of like the thinner, softer tofu, which is just made with soybeans. And then you've got a non-dairy milk. I recommend soy milk is the best, but almond milk and oat milk or coconut milk would work too. Apple cider vinegar, and then, of course, you got some spices and other things in there as well. I'm not going to read every ingredient, but you can see these are all whole foods. And this makes a delicious ranch dressing that you can put on anything. Okay, moving to the next section, we're going to go to breakfast. So you've got quite a few. Oh, I'm sorry, we're still on flavor makers. So you've got a pesto sauce here, and then you've also got a teriyaki. So anything you would use pesto on, a sandwich or any kind of a meal like that, it's really good on a grain bowl. And then you've got the teriyaki sauce, which of course can be used on noodles or just about anything else you want to put it on. Okay, so moving over to breakfast. So we begin with some smoothie options. We've got a detox green smoothie, an island green smoothie, a strawberry banana smoothie, and a berry pink smoothie. All of these we've tested and had many times. They're fantastic. And you just need a good blender and to get the produce and the other things needed. It's mostly going to be fruit, but you'll add some greens. And if you need a protein recommendation that's really, really healthy, I've got one for you. And I will tell you more about that when we talk, when we go through this on the call. But I've got one for you. So, and I've actually got a couple of recommendations, but one specifically that's really good. So that's the way it would work with the protein powder. Couple of these, or let's see, one of these has nut butter in it. So you want to kind of think of it in terms of not having maybe that particular smoothie every day, because the nut butter is going to be a little bit of extra fat. But again, when it comes to, a lot of times I'll be talking about the fat content, and I want to be clear, in the long term, eating whole food plant-based fats is totally healthy for you. But in the short term, when you're trying to reduce body fat, we want to limit the fats due to everything that I talked about in the previous video on that. So you just want to watch that. But otherwise, yeah, all these smoothies are going to be absolutely great. You pick one for breakfast or lunch or dinner any day of the week. Okay, now we get to some other breakfast items. So you've got overnight oats, which is always a great option. I have that for breakfast almost every day. And this is a fantastic, delicious morning oatmeal that'll cool you down and make it just delicious and yummy when you wake up. Okay, next one is a warm vanilla oatmeal. So when it starts getting colder outside and you want that warm cereal breakfast, this is a really good option. And we've added in how to make it with the perfect balance of sweetness and yumminess. So there's that. Okay, next thing is gonna be tofu scramble. Tofu, again, if you're not used to cooking with it, it really tastes and has a similar texture to eggs when you scramble it. So we give you the way to do that. Tofu is made with just soybeans, so it's real good for you. It is a little bit higher in fat. So again, you don't want to have 3 or 4 servings a day, but it is, it's a delicious way to have basically like an egg and a hash brown breakfast, but using tofu. This explains exactly how to do it oil-free. So you won't have any added fat from oil. It'll still be a relatively low fat, very healthy meal. Okay, the next thing is avocado toast. Avocado toast, you're going to be using a type of wheat bread. We recommend Dave's Killer Bread or Ezekiel. And those can both be bought at Kroger or any other grocery. So you're going to do that with a ripe avocado, and then get some grape tomatoes if you like them, and then make your delicious avocado toast. So that's another really quick, easy breakfast. Okay. And then you've got lunches. We got a black bean burger. This is one of my favorite things in the world to eat. I keep them frozen in the freezer all the time and just thaw them out and cook them or heat them up. So you can do that. You can make like 15 of them at a time and then just put them in the freezer and warm them up when you need them. But they're absolutely fantastic. My favorite plant-based burger ever. And they're just made with sweet potatoes, walnuts, chopped mushrooms, flaxseed. So all whole foods, bunch of spices. They're very, very good. Okay, the next thing is another favorite of mine, which is the chickpea tuna salad. So you can't beat tuna salad as a lunch, and this is a way to make it without the fish. So you'll have chickpeas, a little bit of hummus, onion powder, garlic powder, okay, lemon juice and salt and pepper, and all you need is a food processor. You don't have to cook anything, and you make that, and then you just put it on some good grain bread. Okay, so that's another great one you can put in a Tupperware and take to work or wherever you're going through the day. Mediterranean grain bowl. Grain bowls are absolutely great, and this is a really good one. It's got plenty of different beans and grains and such in there. And we also, it says you can put a little bit of the olive juice into the hummus and make it even more, give it a more saucy consistency. And yeah, and that's, and what I like to do with with this grain bowl is go back and maybe use one of the condiments like the pesto or something on there. And that's a good way to go too. Okay, so then what's next is the cheesy potato soup. I actually just had this soup yesterday. It's so good. So you just use potatoes, carrots, basically boil them until they're tender. And then you're going to add broccoli, which you can do frozen or fresh. Miso paste, which is a great flavor enhancer. It's salty, but it's still good for you. It doesn't, with miso, since it's made from a soybean, it doesn't carry the risk of other high sodium things. So it's a good way to salt food up. Then you've got dill, weed, and nutritional yeast, garlic powder, and onion powder. If you want it cheesier, just add a little more nutritional yeast. And that just tastes like a yummy, cheesy potato broccoli soup that you can have anytime. Okay, so dinners, we've got some options. You got a loaded baked potato, which, I mean, who's not in the mood for that every day? Simple way to do it, use the easy cheesy sauce from the beginning and add some broccoli or something or black beans. Okay, next thing is double rainbow salad. This is a fantastic salad. I would encourage you guys to have a salad every day. And this is a great choice for your staple salad. And it's totally delicious and also completely healthy with no processed ingredients and very low in fat. You got an oil-free dressing, so it's still going to be very nutrient dense, low calorie. Okay, next thing is easy penne pasta. Again, a pasta dish is always a great option for dinner. You can add all kinds of veggies steamed. My wife actually used the recipe for this that she got from my grandma. My grandma is one of the best chefs I've ever known. I mean, this lady could cook meals at country clubs and make everybody happy when she was younger. She's in her 80s now, doesn't cook as much, but she used to make, she was actually, when I was a kid, she was taking care of my grandpa who passed away, but he had type 1 diabetes from a childhood, and it was very severe diabetes. And I think she probably added 30 years to his life by just cooking so healthy back in the 80s when nobody even knew how to cook like this. I mean, she was making like this kind of food back then. And so anyway, my wife and I met when we were 16, so she's known my grandma, and she kind of took that recipe and adapted it a little bit. So, you know, if you ever want like a great recipe from Granny's kitchen, this is the one. So it's a really good way to make pasta, make it delicious. Your whole house will smell good, and it's totally on the path as far as food goes. Okay, the next thing is going to be a fajita bowl, which is also fantastic. You're going to have bell peppers and mushrooms, broccoli, quinoa, all that good stuff in there, and everything else that you can think of as far as that goes. And that'll be a really delicious, kind of like Mexican-inspired dish that will not run up the calorie numbers. Okay, so those are your dinners. So I'm going to jump into extras. Again, before I do, I want to say, remember, the goal each day is to pick 3 or 4, you know, somewhere between, I'd say 2 and 4 of these meals to make and eat each day. They should all be easy to transport for the most part. None of them are going to be super complicated. We wanted to make this an easy menu that anybody can make quickly. But you'll be able to, you know, what we want you to do is pick anywhere from 2 to 4 of these, depending on how many meals you're going to have each day, and make these your primary meals. So you can bounce around. This should give you enough options between the smoothies and the 4 breakfast, lunch, and dinner choices to really have a wide variety of things to eat. Okay, we also put some extras in here. So for the extras, you've got homemade hummus, which is a great way to make it without oil, to make it low fat. You've got these really yummy stuffed bell peppers that are just a great thing to take to work or something. And you'll get your servings of grains in there, and your veggie serving as well. And it's just so good. So I would encourage you to give that a shot. One of my favorites is this green chia pudding. You just use dates and a little bit of maple syrup and some non-dairy milk and spinach and chia seeds. And you can add some fresh fruit, kiwi or banana or mango, all that on top. It's so good. I mean, that thing is like I feel like you're getting a fancy dessert at a restaurant, and it's so easy to make. Okay, and then when you really don't even want to cook anything, get some of these McDougal soup cups. Get these from Kroger or Whole Foods. They cost about $2.50, and we load up on them. They have ramen noodle ones. They have like the miso soup, the vegan chicken one, pad thai. Split pea is a great one, and they're all really good as far as there's no oil. They're really low fat. They're all made with good whole grain ingredients. The split pea has a ton of fiber in it. So those are really good choices. And all you got to do is add boiling water. That's a perfect lunch. Sometimes I'll have that, and then we'll get like some good, like we get this old world rye bread from Whole Foods that's really good. And I'll just kind of dip a little bit of bread and have that for lunch. It's so good. So these are some extras. Okay. Now we get to the most fun part, that's the sweets. Okay. So everybody knows you got to have some desserts or it's no fun. So we've given you our 4 favorite dessert items that you can eat every day. You can even have these for breakfast if you want to. They're so healthy. So you will be eating delicious dessert foods, and you'll be getting healthier and leaner each time you do it. So I'll start at the bottom. We got these no bake protein balls that are the bomb. I mean, you absolutely can just crush these things, and they're so good for you, and they're great to have around. Okay, so those are going to be a great choice. You just use oats, a little bit of nut butter. My wife, when she does these recipes, she tries to make them as low fat as possible. So it really limits the amount of nut butter. You can even cut it a little less if you want to. And then same thing on the sugar. We'll make sure we don't use too much of the maple syrup as well. But these are super good. Even if you leave out a little of the maple syrup, they'll still be good. But with that amount, they'll still be, you know, pretty low in sugar and not bad for you. They'll be delicious. Okay. Next thing is going to be the strawberry banana and ice cream. This is so good. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. And so we use 2 frozen bananas, some strawberries, a little bit of maple syrups, pitted dates, and you could throw an extra banana in there if you want to. And then you just blend it up in a high speed blender and blend until it's smooth, and you've got ice cream. and it tastes better, in my opinion, than going to the ice cream shop. Okay, next thing you've got is Ooey Gooey Cookie Cake. I had this on my birthday last year. I'll have it again on my birthday this year. It's made with chickpeas, dates, vanilla extract, a little bit of chocolate chips. You want to get some dark chocolate for that one. And it comes out, the chickpea dough tastes like cookie dough. It's so good. And you can have this, all the time as well. And then the black bean brownies. So this is, you'll be getting servings of black beans and oats and dates. You just use a little cocoa powder, a little tiny bit of maple syrup, so a little bit of peanut butter, and these are amazing as well. Now, with these desserts, guys, they are super healthy, but you still want to treat them like desserts, okay? They're going to be more calorically dense than some of the other things. Sorry, my dog just came up here and it's kind of loud, but they're going to be more calorically dense than some of the other meals. So you don't want to go absolutely crazy with them. You don't want to binge eat them on them or anything like that. But they're going to be perfect dessert foods to get that wonderful sweetness that you want without eating anything that's not totally whole food and plant-based. Okay, so this is a great way. You can imagine every time you want a sweet, if you switch to this instead of the regular, kind of sweets you would get that are going to be terrible. Okay, now we've given you some grocery staples. So this is a great grocery list to go and fill your pantry with, and then what produce to get. So if you just simply go down the list and buy these items from the grocery, get enough to last about a week of each one, and you'll have everything you need to make all of these dishes, as well as the produce. Okay. Then we're looking at seasonings and non-oil dressings that you can get from the store. So my favorite oil-free dressings are going to be Bragg's organic vinaigrette, which you can get from Kroger or Whole Foods. And then Whole Foods makes a vegan Caesar and a sesame ginger. Now, if you are not careful when you look around the store, there's lots of vegan dressings, but most of them have oil. They have one specific brand that's actually the Whole Foods in-house brand that is a sesame ginger that has no oil, and one Caesar that has no oil at all as well. And that's the one you want to get. I'll toss the pictures of them underneath this in the training so you'll see what it looks like. Okay, and then the Bragg's oil-free balsamic vinaigrette as well. Okay, so those are great dressings you can put on your salads that will be either pretty much low to no fat and really good for you. And those will be available from the store. And then of course you've got the dressings you can make on your own. And then we've got seasonings. So you want to make sure you have garlic powder, sea salt, pepper, onion powder, paprika, turmeric, mustard seed, cumin, taco seasoning, dill weed, cinnamon, and stevia. Okay, and stevia is a sugar sweetener. A sugar substitute. Also, you'll see in the, make sure we put this. Yeah. She put, okay, so the maple syrup is in there too. Make sure you get that. Again, you don't want to go crazy with the maple syrup, but it's a good sweetener that is more natural than some of the others. Okay, so that is what we're looking at, y'all. This is weeks 1 through 6 menu. And again, I think you're going to be absolutely just enjoying your food as you go about the process of dropping weight. If you have anything that's off of this menu, having extra fruit as a snack is always fine. That's totally fine as well. But if you have anything that you don't eat on this menu, make sure that you're talking to your coach and make sure you're communicating it, because we want to really make sure that we're sticking to this as much as possible. If you stick to this 100%, you will be unbelievably successful. If you stick to it 90%, you should be pretty darn successful. And you'll really get used to eating these foods, which will make the next phase of the program even easier to adapt to. All right, so I hope you really enjoy this. I'm looking forward to getting started. And be sure to hop in Slack and ask any questions about this menu that you have. Of course, we will be covering this more in length on our nutrition onboard call as well. And I will talk to you very soon.